Well, good morning and welcome to Hoogerheide here in North Brabant as we get ready for a fantastic weekend of cyclo-cross at the World Championships. This really is a hotbed of cyclo-cross. The crowd is already pretty large and they're enjoying the atmosphere, which I'm sure is just going to get louder and louder as the weekend continues. Well, we've got the first race of the day is going to be the Junior World Cyclo-cross Championship. So many nations, so many fans here getting ready to cheer on their favourites. And as you can see, there we go through the different nations there. I don't know who they're cheering on, maybe the Italians. But we're going to get ready now for the junior race, which is going to be coming up shortly. All weekend we're going to bring you the women's race, the under-23s and the men's. The weather conditions then for today, 7 degrees centigrade. It's not actually too cold. The wind is a little bit biting. Overnight we've had plenty of rain. So there's been the rain has been battering off the windows in the hotel since around about midnight, and that means that this course has completely changed overnight from the course that these riders rode in warm-up over the last couple of days. So it's going to be an interesting day today. We'll get the first indication here in the junior race as to how things are going to go. And as you can see there with the flags flying, it is going to be very, very windy, which could have some bearing on some of these results over the next few hours. So thanks very much for joining us. Alongside me in the commentary box is Simon Burney. What this man doesn't know about cyclo-cross isn't worth knowing. Simon's going to be with me throughout the 2 days of competition as we guide you through the racing and analyse what's going on. Simon, as we get ready for the junior race, pretty windy. I don't know about you, but I was woken up during the night with the rain battering off the windows. It's going to be a very, very interesting day of competition.
It is. It's changed totally over the last 48 hours from a relatively hard, packed, a little bit sticky in places course. The rain last night, and especially the wind, was rattling the barriers, certainly waking me up in the night. And the water that's come down, I think there was about 10 mil of rain came down during the night, and it's drastically changed the surface on probably 80% of the course. There's some bits in the trees that are still on fairly sandy ground, and it's drained quite well, but anything low-lying, this course is set up in kind of two sections really. There's a lower meadow section that's got the big VIP on it, and we're going around the course now. So through the pits it drops down a bank, which is the Brabant Wall. The bottom of that, where the water's drained to, is very sticky indeed. And I think over the weekend there's no more rain forecast. It's just going to get stickier, which is going to be an interesting challenge.
As you can see, this course is pretty technical, and it crisscrosses and turns, and here we are on board one of the bikes as we go around the course at a more rapid speed. I don't think we'll be going quite this quick, but as you can see, there's an awful lot less paved road on this course than there has been in previous editions. But one of the characteristics is we crisscross back and forward around the hospitality areas, which builds an incredible amount of atmosphere, and over these bridges as well.
Yeah, and what's happened is with the water, this lower area by the VIP, coming onto the bridge and off the bridge, there's big ruts forming. It's very, very soft indeed. So, and the bridge is really steep. It's actually quite a challenge to ride up, and you're coming into the bridge off a rut. It's yeah, it's not as easy as it was a couple of days ago for sure. But you can see now that in the woods it's quite sandy soil. It drains really well.
In terms of tyre selection and all that sort of thing that these riders will be looking at, I guess yesterday they were looking at a different tyre pressure, different tyre selection. Now they're going to be probably on super mud tyres, I would have thought.
I think everybody's on muds, yeah. Certainly yesterday it was intermediate tyres. But today it's all muds, I think. I don't think we're going to see any changes unless the wind picks up and it starts to dry sections out, and some of the elite men decide to maybe run something a little bit faster but with a slightly less grip. But you can see these off-camber corners, which are very, very slippery indeed. You definitely need good grip on the sidewalls of the tyres for those sections.
So there we are, onto that little paved section. As you can see here, it's still pretty green when this course run was done.
That's the one run up on the course. This is the only time you actually have to get off the bike unless it gets super muddy. This is one short run up, no hurdles. Adrie van der Poel, it's the Adrie van der Poel Grand Prix in former former race incarnations before it became a World Cup and then the World Championships. And Adri is a local guy and notorious for not liking the hurdles, so he never had them in his races.
Well, why not? Might as well have it how you want it.
Exactly, yeah.
And of course we're going to see Mathieu van der Poel over the weekend as well, and he's a supreme talent. He's won this junior title twice already, and now looking to try and win the under-23s.
Yeah, he's prodigious talent. He's obviously he's got great genes in the family. His dad was a world champion and a great road rider, and his mum is the daughter of Raymond Poulidor, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, come from bad stock.
Well, here's the start list. We've got 58 riders, 19 nations represented in the lineup here in this junior race. We've just raced past the name of Adam Tupelik, who is the winner of the World Cup for this season. He's one of the race favourites. And we're counting through there the British squad with Tom Craig. Simon, you brought the British riders over here for their journey to the World Championship, so you know them pretty well. But there's such an amazing degree of talent in this junior field.
There is, and the thing with juniors, you never quite know world to worlds which you know, who's going to stand that, who's going to be affected by the pressure of a World Championships, and there'll be names that we've never seen before in World Cups that are going to, I'm sure, have an influence on the race. But I think the two big favourites for me are, as you say, it's Adam Tupelik from the Czech Republic and Yannick Peters from Belgium. Those two have been battling all year. They've shared World Cup wins, and I'd be very surprised if somebody else came in to upset those two off the top step.
Well, Yannick Peters is, for those of you who don't know, is the son of Wilfred Peters.
That's right.
So we've seen Wilfred wandering around this morning. He walked down the finishing straight a few moments ago and gave us a wave. He's kind of got that look. You can never really tell what Wilfred is thinking, but he has that look of kind of a proud man today, but also that trepidation of, is this going to go the way he hopes it's going to go?
I just heard from a good friend of his that he's incredibly nervous today, so it's probably a good sign. I think probably more nervous for his son than he would be racing himself.
He's probably more nervous than when he's sitting in the team car looking after you know, there's such big talents that he looks after in the major classics and everything else.
Yeah, family's a little bit different, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So we're looking here at the riders as they get ready. There's concentration on these riders' faces. That young lad was 6th in the World Cup. As he gets ready, Joris Nieuwenhuis, as they just concentrate. What is going through their minds this morning? Kobe Goossens, 3rd in the World Cup, as he decides now to take a gel, get that inside him, maybe tin a little bit of caffeine in there to get him ready for racing today. There's Jelly Sherman, 7th in the World Cup, concentrating, just getting ready to take the tracksuit top off there and get ready for racing. Alongside then, as all these riders get ready, this is Yannick Peters, 2nd in the World Cup, a winner of course in Namur more recently, and there's a little glimpse of the tyres. Alongside him is Tupelik, 1st in the World Cup. He's leaving it a little bit of time till he takes that top off. Just got to keep as warm as possible.
That was definitely a mud tyre on the front of Peters' bike there. I'm surprised to see anything else today.
So there is Tupelik from the Czech Republic as he gets ready for racing. Won't be long now until we're underway.
So the start's gridded from the top 16 of the World Cup. So the first 2 rows, 8 on a row, is the World Cup, and then followed by world ranking. So these riders are picking up world ranking points in World Cups and a variety of races around the globe.
There's Isabit, who was 5th in the World Cup. The Belgians, they had 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 7th in the World Cup this year.
I think they just had the 30 seconds to go.
So the red light up there on the top left-hand of the screen is, it's a little bit more like Formula 1 start now. We used to just have a flag, now we have the lighting system. And with the bell tolling in the background, these riders are going to go charging off this start line. Here we go then, the junior race underway, and the almighty cavalry charge for the first corner. Very, very important to get a good start.
Oh, big crash.
And there we go. So a bit of nervousness. So many riders have come down on the start. And just looking to see who did hit the deck. Now, I think we've lost some pretty notable names in that crash. There was a touch of wheels, a bit of a slide, and as they go down there, riders with their feet out of the pedals. And who has come down? Well, Max Gulic definitely has come down from the Netherlands.
Roman Lenky from the Czech Republic. Exactly the same place as the crash in the women's race in the World Cup 2 years ago, identical.
Is it just literally a little bit of nerves or just wet tyres on tarmac that they just went sliding off?
It's nerves. It's a perfectly smooth, straight, well-surfaced road. There's no reason to crash. Paint on the lines. Obviously got the paint for the lines, but...
So difficult, isn't it, when these riders are so ready for this race. Here we go then, Simon. This is what happened.
Oh, it's the French guy, yeah. He just... Wheels went under him on the painted lines, I think.
That was a really thumping crash, yeah. He just hit the white paint right in the centre of the track. Who else has come down?
Thomas Joseph from Belgium.
Yeah, he's down.
Still 5 Belgians in that leading group and 2 Dutch. I think the Dutch maybe came off worse in that crash.
I think they did. There was a number down there on the deck. Well, there we go. That's what happens. As you remember, if you go out on your road bike and you hit white paint on wet roads, generally you're going to come down. And that's exactly
Peter Gogan
happened.
there, the American national champion. He got tangled up in that right at the back.
And the Australian rider there is Nicholas Smith as he looks for a bike. There's not even a bike for him here in the pits.
And the problem is now there's no more stop and go. You can't just put your feet down and get going again on the same bike in the pits. You've got to change bike or change wheels.
So they're going to have to look for a wheel change. Well, so many of these juniors, they've come so far and they've got all ready for racing, and suddenly their race is over before it's even begun. So just looking through, Yannick Peters is up there in about 4th or 5th place. The head of the race here is just starting to form now. We've got 5 or 6 riders going away, and Yannick Peters is sitting in the group. He's a little bit further down as we make our way up towards the bridge. This is where the wind is coming from the left-hand side. Notably, Martin Matacek is the Czech rider there. But as they go through this little area here, we are seeing at the front there is that T-Zets, 4th in the World Cup. We've still got 1 rider on the deck after that crash. One of the riders from the Czech Republic, can't quite see who that is. In fact, it is Roman Leckie. He's out. He took a really heavy tumble there. But at the front, I think it is T-Zets of the Belgian squad. You can see how difficult it is when you come off that bridge. You hit the very wet and rutted area, and that is going to cause a few problems over this weekend.
That was Tupelik just off the back of that small group at the front. In contention, no real stress for him right now. Clear of the crash. There's 2 Dutch, 2 Belgians, and Tupelik just nicely on the back of that, a Frenchman and an Italian as well.
So we've got 7 or 8 riders, maybe 12 riders now forming. Oh, another crash here. And hitting the deck there was Sieben Wouters. So much nervousness going on in here after that initial crash. Tupelik is number 22. There he goes. He went round nice and easy, and then he just toppled over the front wheel, digging in. So our leading rider then is Kobe Goossens of Belgium, wearing number 10, the rider who was 3rd in the World Cup. And he's wearing number 10 there. Following him is T-Zets, and the Italian rider going through the picture as well. Really noisy already in this little area. One of the Danish riders looking pretty good as he makes his way up that climb. And that is Simon Andreasen. So we're starting to get some sort of consistency here as Joris Nieuwenhuis is the Dutch rider towards the front, and Sieben Wouters also up there as these riders try and use the barriers to get round. Number 12 is Jelle Shermans. He was the next rider through there. Also up towards the front is Tupelik wearing number 22. Notably at the moment though, Simon, I haven't picked out Yannick Peters. He doesn't appear to be near the front yet, wearing number 8. We'll try and pick him out.
It doesn't seem to be, no. I'll keep looking for the numbers.
So definitely towards the front is Ertz wearing number 11, Goossens wearing number 10, and as we said beforehand, Simon, you said it exactly right. A World Championship, anything can happen, and there'll be a name of a rider that we may not possibly be expecting, who suddenly is up there at the front.
Yeah, Tupelik's leaving some small gaps here, quite surprising. Hopefully he's just settling in on the first lap, but he's just a little bit further back than you would expect. Normally you think he'd be playing a little bit closer order to the, especially those two Belgians and the Dutch guy in that very front group.
So Tupelik there is wearing number 22, and he is working hard to just try and stop. Oh, a little bit of coming out there as they went down around that little rutted section.
This is where the water made the difference overnight. This was rideable yesterday with no real problems at all.
So in there is number 12, Jelle Shermans. We're picking him out. He's making his way into that group. The Danish rider, pretty impressive, Simon Andreasen. We haven't seen too much from him this year, but he's on a ride today. He was 28th in the World Cup.
Yeah, the Danish coach was talking to me about him before and said to keep an eye out. He's a very, very good mountain bike rider, very, very good technically. Obviously got good legs right now as well. He's in good shape, but the technical parts of this course won't cause him any problems at all. So he's done a good start to get out of trouble, miss that crash, and be just on the back of this top 10 or 12 riders right now.
I think I've just seen Yannick Peters possibly in that group now. So
that's number 8. Yannick Peters there, so he's 6th place.
He's working his way through. He's having to really put in massive efforts, and Tupelik now, as Simon pointed out to me, is just making his way up towards the wheel of number 12 there, Sherman. But Yannick Peters now is starting to open up a little bit of a gap on Tupelik, and is riding really pretty strongly.
Yeah, Tupelik is losing ground there. He's not gaining ground for sure, so...
it's Jacobs of Switzerland who is up there, wearing the Swiss colours in that group, so we'll pick him out. And the Italian is Todaro. So Todaro riding strongly. He went through the split point in the group. So towards the front then, these riders starting to form a group of 5 or 6 riders, and Peters is making his way across, and when he gets there, his dad is going to breathe a massive sigh of relief. There he is, wearing number 8. So it's Nieuwenhuis who is second in there. They're taking all sorts of lines as they go up, some of them using the barriers to just try and give themselves a little bit of a hold as they go up that climb. Tupelik still having to concentrate hard to get back into that group safely. But it's a long race, around about 40 minutes. Oh, the Italian rider, 1 foot out the pedals, standing up almost. Oh, impressive riding.
Yeah. He's got the inflatable protection at the bottom of that climb, so no trees in the way. We'll get a good idea at the end of this lap right now how many laps they're going to be doing. As you say, 40-minute race. It'll be close to a 9-minute lap. Obviously, they have the start straight in there as well.
So the riders then up to the completion of the first lap, and it's been an eventful first lap. Here we go. The barriers, the board's been banged there as we see Joris Nieuwenhuis, the Dutch rider there at the front, leads across with Kobe Goossens also from Belgium, Jan Grass of France, Manuel Todaro of Italy, Yannick Peters in 5th place, Johan Jacobs of Switzerland. Tupelik now is 8 seconds down at the end of that first lap.
The Belgians have got power in numbers as well in that front group, 4 of them, 2 Dutch, Swiss, Italian, French, but the Belgians can play the team game here with the Dutch, which is a big advantage for them. Huge rivalry between these two nations, and the Dutch on home ground.
The leading American rider, Austin Vincent, in 14th place, just 17 seconds down on the leading rider across the line that time. Joris Nieuwenhuis and Kobe Goossens are the first two riders across the line. And here we go into the pits. Nice clean bike for Joris Nieuwenhuis. And now that group is forming. We're seeing around about 10, 12 riders in that front group now.
Interesting, in the pits, the team managers can choose their pit position based on their nation ranking. Belgians they'd get the first call in this junior race, ranked #1. They pick pit #1. The Dutch will then go to pit 7 to keep out of the Belgians' way. As you saw there, the Belgian changed in the beginning of the pit. Dutch in the middle.
When you come here on the first, all sorts of speedway style turns going on. Look at this. When you first come here as a team manager and you look around, you think about the layout of the pits. How do you choose?
A lot of it's on the entry and the exits to the pits, where you can carry speed and where you can keep speed through the pit after a bike change or coming into the pit. A lot of it's actually where the washers are. You don't want your mechanics moving too far away from where they change the bike to have to get to the washers. This is actually a good pit. The washers are right in the middle, so there's no big advantage for either end. For the women's race, the Brits called up #1, and I chose pit 1 for that one. It's a slightly better entry into it.
So you've really got to think these things out and work out how you're going to help your athletes get the best possible positions.
Yeah, you just want to lose as little time as you can changing a bike and make life as easy as you can for the mechanics.
So the Belgians now riding a real team game as they go away. 3 riders in the front group, and the Swiss rider Johan Jacobs is trying to come across to them. But suddenly Belgium have got themselves organised, and they have their 3 key riders at the front. Yannick Peters, Kobe Goossens and Thies Aerts are the riders now who are really starting to motor. So the Dutch rider who is in there is maybe the favourite rider we would have expected, so he's not had any problems at all. Nieuwenhuis wearing #2. He was 6th in the World Cup, so he's going with the moves of the Belgian squad. Tactically though, from a team point of view, even at junior level, team tactics do come into play to try and win a world championship.
They do, and the managers of both the Dutch and the Belgian squads are hugely experienced in this, and they'll have definitely given the team orders in the meeting to ride as a team. The last lap, 2 laps, it'll be a little bit more of an individual effort, but certainly early on in the race they just want to see a selection made and make sure that they've got power in numbers. And at the moment the Belgians are winning that battle for sure.
Well, they've certainly got everything organised.
Nieuwenhuis slipped off there, lost a few lengths.
So as the riders make their way up this one little section, they've got to run. Tupelik now is starting to come back to the leaders. He hasn't panicked, has he? He's just raced to his own level, and now he is starting to make his way back to this front group. But I must admit, the atmosphere is absolutely electric in here. And we're, I say only at the junior race, but it's absolutely fantastic to see. Thies Aerts, the first rider through that little section, as the riders try and stay on their bikes if they possibly can. Tupelik, the winner of the World Cup now, is making the junction to these leaders. And I'm just trying to pick out where the first American rider is. It's still Austin Vincent of the United States, who is round about 14th, 15th place still. The Americans got a really, really strong team here in the women's race particularly, and the junior riders now also starting to get stronger and getting organised. So Thies Aerts was the first rider who was through the split point last time. Nieuwenhuis is really keen to keep the momentum going at the front and not let Tupelik come back if he possibly can.
Yeah, Tupelik is just dangling. He's not quite in the wheels where he needs to be on this in this front group.
So Nieuwenhuis going through that turn, and the Belgians now he's trying to put the Belgians on the back foot if he possibly can, because they had 3 riders with him, but he's really motivated by the crowd in his home area. Nieuwenhuis was in our hotel last night. The Dutch took over one big corner of the restaurant, Dutch corner, a little bit like Alduez. They were in really good spirits, and I saw Nieuwenhuis this morning as he came down for breakfast and didn't look too worried at all. So he's really starting to motor now as he gets onto this more grassy section, so he's able to put the pace in.
And he's definitely putting some gaps in there. That's making some people feel the effort for sure. I'm guessing we're going to have a 5-lap race. We haven't actually been notified of that, but I think off the lap time of that first lap, probably a 5-lap race.
So he goes through that really muddy section, and there's a few riders looking down at their gears here. The amount of mud these bikes are picking up is going to cause problems even halfway around a lap, as we see the Swiss rider now into the group. So still Nieuwenhuis at the front, followed there by number 10 Goossens, followed by number 11 Aerts, followed by Yannick Peters, and still he's working really, really well, and he is putting everybody under a lot of pressure as he tries to break away from the rest of this group.
It is an ambitious move on lap 2, but he's obviously got good legs. He's taking a couple of the Belgians out of the equation, I think, is his idea, and at the moment he's just got the 2 Telenet Fidea teammates riding for Belgium on his wheel, and the Swiss rider.
The Swiss rider is Jacobs there in the red and white with a little touch of black. Yannick Peters desperately trying to shut the gap. The Frenchman is in a little bit more difficulty. That is Gras. He's trying to get himself back to the leaders, but suddenly the momentum of Nieuwenhuis is putting a little gap now with him, with Goossens. Goossens wearing number 10, 3rd in the World Cup. He won the Coxader World Cup this year, which of course involves riding across the sand and everything else. So it's a real trudges Coxader, which is maybe a little bit similar to what today is ending up as. And he has got the traction down that little drop-off really nice. He's got the line perfect, and he's now starting to break away, which is very impressive indeed.
We should get a couple of little groups forming on the finishing straight now. It'll be interesting to see who sits up and looks around and who carries the effort on.
Well, the first lap was 9 minutes and 1 second. 3 laps of racing to go. As Nieuwenhuis says, right, give me a turn. And the Swiss rider shakes his head to the rider that he's with, that's T-Serts, and says, no, I ain't coming through at all. In the finishing straight, we go through. We've got Nieuwenhuis leading. On his wheel is Goossens. So these 2 riders, and they now have an advantage of around about 6 seconds on the second group. T-Serts is the leader of that group, with Johan Jacobs, Yannick Peters, Jelle Shermans, and Jan Gras now at 14 seconds.
Goossens was getting no help from the Swiss guy down the finishing straight just then. He looked round, couldn't do anything, couldn't close the gap to the first 2, and I think he was looking round for help from his other 2 Belgian teammates.
So Tupelik now, look at that, 24 seconds down, the World Cup winner, the rider that we really thought would be the real race favourite with Peters today, is having problems. He was bronze medalist last year, so he's got the experience of riding a world championship, which always helps with the nerves and everything else, but maybe that expectation is just a little bit too much for him today.
Not many changes going on. The mud is quite watery. It's not really sticking. You can see the bikes aren't picking up the thick sticky mud as they have been the last couple of days. It's probably better for the mechanics than it has been earlier in the week.
So in the pits for each rider we have 2 or 3 bikes in total, so they swap over, or for
normally 2 bikes. Normally 2 bikes. The home guys, the Belgians and the Dutch, I'm sure, have got 3 apiece, and that's normally just in case there's a problem with one of the first 2 bikes. But Normally only 2 bikes needed because there's only one double pit. So if it's very muddy in the start changing, doing half-lap changes, then the third bike's really useful. But until then, on a day like this, not so much.
So it's actually helping these riders to not get clogged up as much, that rain overnight. It's really difficult on this bridge because there's no traction, is there? It's pretty smooth.
You just can't take the speed into it, which is the problem. Big ruts forming.
So 2 leaders then, if you've just joined us for the World Cyclo-cross Championships. This is the junior race. We had that massive crash on lap number 1. As we go back here, oh, a little bit of a crash here for one of the Dutch riders hitting the deck. That is Pascal Inkenhorn. He toppled over there, we had the initial crash on the opening charge off the start line, which put a few riders in difficulty, but the race so far has been dominated by the pressure being exerted by Joris Nieuwenhuis of the Netherlands as he tries to put the Belgians on the back foot, and he's done that very, very well indeed. Kobe Goossens is the rider with him, 3rd in the World Cup, and these 2 riders now are breaking away. Look at that. That was impressive. I'd like to see that again.
Yeah.
Oh, very. I don't know how. His shoulder didn't even touch the barrier. Somehow, he just managed to get. Look at this. Here we go. You can try and do this at home. And he didn't even hit the bottom feet of the barriers. How impressive. Well, we've seen it all so far.
I'd like to see his heart rate monitor, heart rate feedback from that one later.
I think, yeah, that gave him... He's sitting there in silver medal position right now, and then suddenly the bike decides it'd like to see the barriers. Well, thanks to all of you for joining us. I must admit, Simon, when you look back and you think about riders who've ridden the Junior World Cyclo-cross Championships, and you start to analyse how it's helped their careers, we're not just potentially looking at riders who'll do well in cyclocross. If you go back over the last few years, we just picked some names out. Peter Sagan was silver medalist in 2008 in these World Cyclo-cross Championships, and now when we're on the road in the Tour de France and other races, when we see him pulling wheelies and all that sort of thing, it just shows the amount of technical ability you need to ride cyclocross, but it could translate to an amazing road career as well.
Absolutely. It's a great place for younger riders to start their race career. You know, they're not racing for very long. It gives them great technical skills. It gives them a year-round programme of racing with some road racing and the summer cyclocross in the winter, and then they just get to choose when they're under 23 where their talents lie and where they want to end up. And like you say, people like Sagan, and even, you know, years ago, people like Jan Ullrich, he was a top 5 in the Junior Cyclo-cross World Championships. Really? And young people, again, Roger Hammond, the British rider that went on to a great road career after a Cyclo-cross World Championship as a junior. It's amazing if you start looking 10 deep, 15 deep in old junior races, how many names you recognise.
Yeah, I must admit, I was lucky to be with Roger Hammond in a team car earlier on in the season, and he was recalling that win when he won the World Championships as a junior, and just what it meant for his career. But now we're seeing the momentum of Nieuwenhuis is really starting to put his breakaway companion under some real pressure now. This man is on a rocket today. He's looking very, very good. Oh, he's asking his pits for maybe a bike change.
Yeah, we're coming in for a bike.
Goes through safely, jumps back on.
Should come out back on the wheel of Goossens, so no time lost.
There we go, he looks around and sees the gap that he's got, gives him the opportunity to have that little change. Little replay there of both riders having a few problems through that more rutted downhill section. And Goossens now swinging his feet off the bike nicely. And all problems here. Riders hitting the deck all the time. And the Belgian riders have got strength in numbers if they can get back up to the front, but Nieuwenhuis is not letting that happen. Another little tumble almost for Nieuwenhuis, and the rider behind him also hitting the deck too. So it's still anybody's race. Anything can happen. We've seen so many crashes already for these riders, but just pushing it maybe a little bit too much. But you would as a junior in front of this crowd. It's absolutely fantastic to see. I also look back in the history books, and back in 2004, Roman Kreuziger was silver medalist in these World Championships as well. First held in 1979, the Junior World Cyclo-cross Championships. Boy Van Poppel, who now rides for Trek Factory Racing, also a gold medalist in 2006. Lars Boom, the winner in 2003 as well, who has gone on to a fantastic road career. And suddenly now we have 3 riders at the front. So things are starting to change a little bit.
That's Peters.
Yep.
Come back up to the front.
So Peters is starting to find his legs here as he makes his way into the group. So it's Nieuwenhuis, Yannick Peters and Goossens are the front 3 riders now as they maintain position. Peters looking around to see where Goossens is, and that's an impressive recovery there for Yannick Peters as we head up towards the completion of the next lap, and we'll have 2 laps of racing to go. Look at the Belgians, team time trial formation. Any moment now when they all get back up here to the front, Nieuwenhuis is going to look around and all he's going to see is the turquoise colours of the Belgian squad. So it is Nieuwenhuis, followed by Yannick Peters. And he makes a big mistake there. He hit, I think he hit the bottom of the barrier possibly. We'll just hopefully get a replay. But luckily for him, everyone was held up.
He's not running very strongly, Nieuwenhuis. He's definitely better, happier on his bike. Just when he was getting off the bike, I think he just put his foot into the front wheel of Peters there.
So the attack happens now, and at the back of the group is number 11 there, T-Sets. Well, it's either going to be a big day for the Dutch, or we're going to see 3 Belgians on the podium. What's going to happen here? It's an incredible race. Now we see the attack, and suddenly Nieuwenhuis, for the first time in this race, doesn't look so strong. 2 laps of racing to go as Yannick Peters flicks the elbow.
Nieuwenhuis needs to put his head down here and close that gap. He's not going to get any help at all from the Belgian on his wheel. And he's in a situation where 3 Belgians are just riding away slightly.
Well, so far I've been so impressed with him as Kobe Goossens goes through to complete the lap, followed by Yannick Peters, followed by Shermans, and suddenly Nieuwenhuis, who was looking like a gold medal rider, is going into the red zone, and he has got only 1 rider for company. As Simon's mentioned, number 11 is T-Sets, and he's not going to help him at all. In fact, he's slowing him down. Exactly,
yes. He's just going into the corner, putting the brakes on. Just another couple of seconds here, and then he's going to keep doing it. And Nieuwenhuis needs to get his act together a little bit better. He just lost concentration when those 3 rode off the front. He was looking down at his gears, coming onto the road, lost a gap, and then expected a Belgian teammate of the 3 that were riding away to take him back up to them, which was never going to happen.
Well, we talked earlier on, didn't we? What are the team tactics in here? What is the situation? Will they ride as a squad? There's your big answer. Even at junior level, the Belgians are so well drilled. They've gone, right, that's it. We've got gold, silver, bronze. Now we shut this off. And now the attack happens. The son of Wilfred Peters, Yannick Peters, as he rides along here at the front. He has been such a fierce competitor this season in these World Cups. He was 2nd overall in the World Cup. He was 7th in this race in 2013. He won in Namur, and now he is at the front of the World Championships when just a few minutes ago it looked like it was all going to be a Dutch day. Well, Nieuwenhuis now has got himself in front of number 11, Ertz, and he is having to really put the throttle down to try and come back to the leading group. He just looked like he suddenly, his body shut down, lack of concentration, and he was maybe just right up there in the red zone, and suddenly catches the leaders. That was impressive.
Technically, he's been looking good. He's... It was just a pure lack of concentration. That's how he got back. We missed that on that first run through.
So Yannick Peters.
That's left Peters out in front, and
Goossens and Sherman suddenly at the deck. don't keep your eyes anywhere other than on this screen, because every few seconds something else happens. Right, suddenly we had a 3-man team time trial at the front. You can see how windy it is in this section. The flags are really flat out there as Yannick Peters goes out, and he'll get a slight crosswind along this section. He'll hit the bridge, and he's got a few seconds advantage on Nieuwenhuis, who did get back to the leaders, but Peters at the same time went on the attack, really having to work hard over that bridge. We're inside the final 2 laps of racing. That lap actually is the slowest lap that we've seen so far. The opening lap was 9 minutes 1 second, the second lap was 8:58, and that lap we've just seen 9:09.
It's definitely getting muddier. You know, they're running sections now. They were riding on the first lap, and I think just with the tactical strategy that's been going on with the race, just a few seconds here and there gets lost. But Peters now has got a nice looking gap, you know, just 5 or 6 seconds there. But the bonus for him, he's got 3 Belgians sitting on Nieuwenhuis, which is, yeah, that was just to see if the Belgian there was going to go past Nieuwenhuis and slow him down, but he didn't. He actually carried on pushing on.
Well, it's a very, very exciting race. Just to update you, because I know so many of you are watching today on other positions overall for different nations. We've got the first Italian is 8th overall, Manuel Todaro. He is 27 seconds down. In terms of Tupelik is now a minute down, which is incredible.
That's a big surprise, big surprise, yeah.
The first British rider is Jack Ravenscroft at 1:31. He's 17th overall, followed by Tom Craig in 20th place at 1:44, the son of Nick Craig. A bit of an historic day for that family, and Nick Craig, of course, has ridden the World Championships many, many times.
He has, yeah. He was there in Leeds in '92 in his first professional World Championships when he was 20 years old, I think. We'll be watching Tom today. It's good that he can get an update of where his son's lying. Top 20 would be awesome. He's a first-year junior. That would be a great result for him.
The first American rider is, I think, 26th overall at the moment. That's Max Chance. He's at 2 minutes and 11 seconds. So just to bring you up to date there with some of the other positions on where these riders are. The first French rider still Jan Grass at place number 7. Really surprising day for Tupelik though. 1 minute down, the World Cup rider, the World Cup winner, and suddenly we now have 2 riders at the front in Yannick Peters and Ertz. So these 2 riders going away. Where is Nieuwenhuis? We haven't seen him. There he is. He comes around the corner. He's now in the bronze medal position. This rider, when he replays this race, is just going to relive a day of different emotions. It's been an absolute roller coaster. Maybe just went out a little bit too early at the beginning of this race, but his recoveries mean that perhaps he could come back again.
Yeah, Ertz was impressive. The way he closed the gap down, went past Nieuwenhuis on the bank in the trees, closed that gap down to Peters very quickly, and now looking strong. Apart from a little stumble there, came into a little bit too hot, but
they really are ripping their way down this little descent, aren't they?
Yeah. But these 5-second changes backwards and forwards with just one slip. We've seen Goossens now lose contact a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, we're only looking 6 seconds between the first 5 riders, so it's still possibly anybody's race, as we see Nieuwenhuis desperately trying to get back across. The Swiss rider riding really well today. Johan Jacobs, he's always been up there in the top few positions. He's 6th overall, and he really deserves to be up there in this race. He's been right on it from the gun happening, and now I think we're going to see Peters try to go with his teammate and open up the advantage.
It's definitely putting the pressure on there. We've got another.
Oh dear, the Italian.
Ouch.
Oh, that really hurt. Oh, the Italian rider hit the barriers, and that's Manuel Todaro, who's been running 8th overall, and the French rider went straight over the top. Jan Grass, that was a bad crash as well.
That was, and that's what Goossens narrowly avoided the lap before in exactly the same spot, brushing the barriers with his shoulder, kept his wheel out of the foot of the barrier.
Well, we've seen some pretty terrible crashes so far.
I think if this is a sign of things to come for the rest of the weekend, there's going to be some exciting racing.
There's certainly going to be. You just can't keep your eyes off it, can you, at the moment? So much going on around the course. Thanks very much for your messages at Ant McCross and at Simon Burney on Twitter. If you want to get in touch with us today, we will try and bring you the answers to anything you're asking. Just to update you from an Australian perspective, Nicholas Smith is 5:57 down. He was the rider that we saw earlier on having that problem, having no bike to switch on to. So he's lost a lot of time, but he's still running in this race. So he's still in with a chance of finishing the World Championships. And later on in the women's race, we've got the first ever 2 women riding for Australia in the World Championships.
Yeah, a bit of history. They've had the first national championships, I think, this year in Australia, and it's not only a new country, it's a new continent. We've had some New Zealand riders in the last year or so, but it's great to get Oceania involved in cyclo-cross. Totally out of season for them.
Absolutely, yeah. It's great. And apparently, from what I'm told, cyclo-cross is becoming really, really popular over there.
It's good to hear.
Here we go then. 36 minutes of racing gone, and now we are heading towards the business end of this race. Who is going to take the medals as we head towards the completion of this lap? These 3 riders at the front are going to get 1 lap of racing to go. And the Dutch rider has made the junction at the perfect moment. Peters leads from Kobe Goossens, from T-Sets, from Joris Nieuwenhuis. Those 3 riders now are heading for the medals. So Nieuwenhuis, Goossens is 12 seconds down. Jelly Sherman's at 12 seconds and Johan Jacobs at 15 seconds. So now we get the attack, and it's Yannick Peters trying to go away. Peters now puts in a massive attack at the front. And if you're trying to work out which rider's which, Peters is the taller rider on the yellow bike with the flashes of blue, followed there by T-Sets, and Nieuwenhuis trying to go now with the acceleration. He puts his hand up again. He does this every time just to tell his pits that he wants the bike. He looks across, he'll get a nice clean bike, all running nice and smoothly, jumps on. He's got to go with the momentum of Peters, who is really starting to stamp on those pedals and go away now to try and go for the gold medal.
Just another couple of seconds. He needs to get that back coming out of the pit. It was a good move to change. He's got a fresh bike for this last lap, and you can see those ruts just take you not exactly where you want to go.
Well, I must admit,
getting deeper.
What a fantastic race we've had already this morning. It's thrilling so far as we see Ertz go around, sliding all over the place. He doesn't want to take his teammate off. That would give Nieuwenhuis the gold medal. So you don't want to make any mistakes on this last lap. Exactly what happened a lap ago with Goossens and Ertz taking each other out. Allowed Nieuwenhuis to get back into this race, I think, that crash. So both the Belgian riders have won a round of the World Cup this season. And Nieuwenhuis was 6th overall in the World Cup. So all of these riders have figured in the racing, but Peters was one of the big favourites. Tupelik is the rider who's lost out massively in this World Championships. But now we see the attack, and the attack is coming from Ertz as he tries now to go away. And Yannick Peters, will he play the team game and let his teammate go? Peters with 10 wins this year. He knows how to win races. He's used to it. I don't think he's going to give this one away lightly. I think he's going to want this one for himself. Won the European Championships. Won 5 Super Prestige races. Won the Koppenberg. Similar conditions. The Koppenberg cross is such a fantastic cross. Won, of course, by Helen Wyman of Great Britain in the women's race. But in terms of will they have team orders here, or will they be told, look, just go for it if you're in the top places? I think the team orders tend to go out of the window on the last lap, Anthony. I think it's every man for themselves. So here we go then. Peters is working hard. T-Sets, he looks around. He's trying to see whether anyone is coming back to him. Nieuwenhuis is going to be the rider who's going to have to shut this gap if he wants to have the rainbow bands. He wants to have the gold medal. This is it now. You've got to get everything absolutely right on this last lap. So many times in the past we've seen riders win this World Championship and, as we mentioned earlier, go on to big road careers. We think of the likes of Roger Hammond of Great Britain, Boy van Poppel, Lars Boom, Niels Albert has won this race as well, so has Kevin Powles. It's a massive thing to take, to stand on the podium of a World Championship and get the rainbow bands and wake up tomorrow morning knowing you're the best rider in the world on the day. Aerts now going for glory as he goes past the fan club of Sven Nys there on the left-hand side, and
Peters
he's
is off the
riding.
bike, down at the bottom. Missed a gear change or just had a gear slip.
Both riders had to get off the bike there, which is a mistake for both of those riders. So suddenly this race is going the way of T-Sets as he uses the shoulders to just try and get some momentum through this difficult area. And he's going to look across here at this turn and he will see the gap he's got, and it's a few seconds.
Aerts won in Nome last week, the World Cup final. He's obviously coming into form at the right time. Back-to-back weekends at the front is, at this time of year, is good planning.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Nome last weekend, you can start to get an idea of who might figure in the medal. So Peters is making a few mistakes now. Suddenly, the pressure being exerted by his teammate is causing him to lose momentum. He had the feet out there, just trying to get some sort of traction going forward. Nieuwenhuis now senses, he makes a mistake as well as the front wheel digs in.
Totally unbalanced coming into that corner. That was always going to happen, but now he's struggling. He's got to get back to Peters. I think he's got to get behind him. These guys normally will be playing for the medals. Be surprised to see anybody coming up from behind this late on. But Aerts has just got to keep a cool head. That gap is big enough without a mistake.
Yeah, here he goes. He's just got to concentrate, got to find some way of getting the effort out, but also trying to relax so he can see every single rut. He can see what line he needs to take, but his teammate now is out the saddle and he's stamping on the pedals across here to try and close the gap. And suddenly another Belgian is looking at the bronze medal as the sight of Nieuwenhuis in front of him. Are they going to take top three? This could be an impressive start for Belgium in these World Cyclo-cross Championships. Now Aerts gets off the bike, gets that one just about right, makes a little bit of a mistake, but it's not major enough to cause him a major problem here. As now Yannick Peters goes round the corner, Nieuwenhuis has got another Belgian on his wheel. They are looking at the top three here.
Famous last words that about Nieuwenhuis not having anybody coming up behind him. As soon as we say it, another one shows up.
Jelly Shermans now has made the junction, and the Belgian fans are going to go absolutely wild around this Hoogerheide circuit. And here we are. This is your leader then. If you've just joined us for these World Cyclo-cross Championships, where have you been? This has been the most eventful race of a start of a World Championships that I can remember for a little while, as we see T-Sets now heading for the gold medal. He got that little ride across there absolutely perfect. He's going to go right. Yannick Peters looks around. He wanted the gold medal, but I don't know if he's going to make the junction. Nieuwenhuis looks really tired yet again, as Shermans now is on the wheel, and is he just going to sit there and try and sprint past him for the bronze? The twists and turns of this course are fantastic. It gives the crowd so many opportunities to see the riders. They don't disappear out of view very much at all in certain areas, so you can glance across, stand there, enjoy the atmosphere. And here we go now. Suddenly Nieuwenhuis is looking at fourth place. That would be desperately disappointing for a rider who really, Simon's animated this race totally.
He has, absolutely. From the very first lap he was there. It would be a shame if he didn't stand on the podium.
Here's your leader then, as he heads towards the completion of the final lap. He has got the gap now to win the gold medal. It is T-Sets of the Belgian squad. 4th in the World Cup, winner in Nome just a week ago in that great race that I witnessed. He's right on form, and now he's heading for the top step of the podium. Right, up this little rise now. Those legs will be burning, the lungs will be absolutely aching as he breathes and tries to get to the top here. Peters now putting in a massive little effort to try and get across to get the gold medal. And Sherman's now going side by side with Nieuwenhuis, and another Belgian arriving too. Nieuwenhuis losing the left-hand side there, just holding onto the barriers as T-Sets manages to stamp his way over that little rise. He's got the deep section wheel at the back there to help him go through the mud. Now he's going to come onto this paved road, and he's going to set himself up for the finish of this race. What a fantastic effort in this Junior World Championship. This rider has got it absolutely right today. He has used his ability all the way around this course. Is it going to be a Belgian 1, 2, 3? He sits up, he's ecstatic, he looks around to see his teammate, but the world champion here in Hoogerheide is the Belgian rider. Crossing the line now. T-Sets takes the world title. Following him is Yannick Peters, and Nieuwenhuis is going to have the most desperately disappointing finish ever. Belgium take the silver and they take the bronze. It's a clean sweep of the podium. Oh, very, very happy young man. T-Sets is the world champion. 45 minutes of flat-out effort. Yannick Peters takes the silver medal. What a thrilling race.
That was a great race. To start the weekend, we couldn't have asked for more. That was, yeah, maybe a Dutchman on the podium would have been the icing on the cake for those guys, but he's going to be desperately disappointed.
Oh, I can almost, I almost feel pretty emotional for that young rider. He was the rider who animated everything right from the start. But these Belgians, they rode so well. But this rider, he got it right at the beginning. He fought his way back. Then he was put on the back foot, just a little tired towards the end as these riders now cross the line. That was Sieben Wouters in 9th place. Just to let you know, out of sight, Jan Grass has finished in 8th place, the French rider we saw take that real tumble. But these riders will get cleaned up, absolutely caked in mud. The Italian rider now heading up towards the finish is Manuel Todaro. He was the other rider whose face hit the barriers, but I really desperately feel for the Dutch rider who looked like he was heading for gold. Now he doesn't even get a medal, and it's purely down to maybe just went out a little bit hard at the beginning, and it really paid for it later. So I'm just looking now to see where the next riders coming in are going to be. Thomas Joseph of Belgium in 12th place. Kelvin Bach is 13th. Don't know what that's all about. We're going to see it all this weekend. Just note them down. And just to let you know that running 15th at the moment is the British rider Jack Ravenscroft. There's the replay. T-Set, he had plenty of time to just sit up. A lovely victory salute, looking round at his teammates. And yeah, all emotion let out. Well, the Belgians are going to start partying, I can tell you that. They're staying in a hotel just down the road from us. I've just seen Tom Craig of Great Britain finish in 18th place, out of sight of the cameras. So that's a fine performance from him. So 18th at 2:55. The first Spanish rider at 17th place, Pablo Sevilla. The Spanish riders had a real shock this morning. Their minibus crashed on the way into Hoogerheide. A really terrible crash, actually, and I'm surprised no one was injured. The minibus ended up on its side. So their first Spanish rider, 17th. Here we go, Simon. Here's the replay. Just the crash there at the beginning, that caused so many problems.
It did. And the crash came from the front row, which is never good. There's nowhere to go if that happens.
And then as we ran through the rest of the race, the Belgians started to dominate at this point, really putting Nieuwenhuis on the back foot. This was the problem when he really started to look a little bit desperate, a little bit tired. And if you look there, Aerts is on his wheel. At this point, Yannick Peters was the rider who was in the lead. But if you think about where Aerts came from, you know, he was the rider who was with Nieuwenhuis.
That's right.
For a lot of the race.
He was, yeah. He jumped across to Peters on that last lap.
So a Belgian 1-2-3. Aerts, Peters and Sherman's the gold, silver and bronze, and a desperately disappointing day for the rider in fourth place there. Just to run through some other positions for you as the riders have completed the course out of sight of the cameras. The first American rider, 26th, Max Chance at 3:58, and other riders who have also finished. Jack Ravenscroft is somewhere out on the course for Great Britain. The first Japanese rider, Tadaki Nakai, at 4:17, 34th place. So there's the result then. Thies Aerts wins the world title ahead of Yannick Peters. Jelle Sherman's in third place. Joris Nieuwenhuis in fourth. Kobe Goossens makes it 4 riders in the top 5 for Belgium, and there we are running through the rest of the positions down to the completion of the top 20. Andreasen, the Danish rider, 16th overall. We mentioned him earlier on. He was up there for the first couple of laps. There's the first friend, Lucas Dubau in 24th place there.
Winner of the first World Cup this year, Dubau.
And we haven't also talked too much about the rider from the Czech Republic, Tupolik, which is a massive surprise today.
Big surprise. Even last weekend he was good. Second in Nome at the World Cup final, but today just nothing to be had.
So we're waiting now for the interview with our winner today, and of course the podium presentation. I think that might be his fan club. What do you think? Or the fan club of the Belgians. Just to update on other places for other countries, we've seen Jack Ravenscroft and Dylan Kerfoot-Robson and Sean Dunley finish outside the top 35 places, but they have completed the course. The Canadian rider Mason Burtnick in 44th. And of course, if you go to uci.ch, you'll be able to get all the results of today's racing if you're just wondering about where your favourite rider ended up. So we will be having the interview with the winner in a couple of moments' time.
See the American national champion, Peter Gogan, in 42nd. Got tangled up in that crash at the beginning. Yeah. Disappointing day for him. Come so far with high aspirations of a top 10 ride and get caught him in a crash.
It's a long way to go when you hit the deck like that. The Muppets are out.
It's even further to go home on that plane.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
10 hours thinking about what might have been.
And you'll dream about it all night as well, which is the unfortunate thing. So will Nieuwenhuis. He will just be going back over that race time and time again. So look at the podium, here we are. This is where the world titles will be presented all weekend. The women's race is this afternoon. It's a fantastic field. I saw Marianne Vos last night in the hotel. She looks very relaxed and ready for today's racing. I think, Simon, you saw Marianne earlier on today as well.
Yeah, she just arrived when I was walking down from the team parking area. She was going to head out on the course to have a look, see what the weather had done overnight.
Well, she only lives about 70k from here, not too far at all. She has, of course, dominated the World Cyclo-cross Championships for the last few years, and we'll see whether she can take another title this afternoon. So not long now until we hear from Thies Aerts, the world champion. He's just getting warmed up. and recovering. Lots of things to sign after a race like this. You have to go to the anti-doping, of course. So he'll sign his name and he'll be chaperoned for the majority of this ceremony and everything to make sure that he doesn't disappear. The choice of headgear is something to behold at these World Championships.
You'd never get away with it any other time of the year, though, would you?
No. I'm going out. I'm going to buy one of those for tomorrow, I think. What do you reckon? Do you want the pig or the cow?
I wouldn't do it.
Unexpected crowd. Here's our winner then.
Thijs Aerts, many congratulations. 1, 2, 3, 5 en 7 voor de Belgian team. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5 en 7 voor België. Wat een succes.
Ja, het is ongelooflijk. Dat had ik helemaal niet verwacht en gisteren ook niet. En ja, alle Belgen, ja, het is te zien waar de cross leeft. En ja, dat is een ongelooflijke uitslag met 3 Belgen op het podium.
It's incredible, 3 Belgians on the podium. It's amazing how the sport is alive in Belgium. I just can't believe it. The stretch after the bridge, the climbing section, was that the zone that made a difference? De klimzone na de brug. Heb je daar het verschil gemaakt?
Ik denk het wel. De andere jongens die liepen daar en ik fietste. En ik denk als ik daar de meters pakte die ik op het einde voor had. Dus dat is wel... Dat was wel mijn stuk, denk ik.
Yes, that was my piece of the course there. I could cycle where the others had to run. Can you believe it? Kan je het geloven? You're world champion, je bent wereldkampioen.
Nee, ik denk het nog niet, maar dat zal wel komen, denk ik.
I still can't believe it, but it'll come for sure. I'm world champion. Many congratulations. Proficiat.
Thank you.
Oh, very nice interview there with Thijs Aerts, giving us his thoughts on his World Championship win. There we are. He really rode strongly all the way through, never gave up, worked his way through to the leaders. And then this point of the race, he had it absolutely nailed, didn't he, riding through this area?
He did. He looked very strong in the second half of the race. Rode smartly, didn't look too stressed at any one time, even when he was being gapped by Nieuwenhuis and Goossens and Peters earlier on. Was riding smartly, following wheels. But when it mattered, he was strong. He was good.
He chose to ride that deep section carbon wheel on the back. I guess that some people choose to ride them because they get through the mud nice and easily. The mud doesn't run over the top of them.
These guys, they've got so many wheels, and it's down to what tyres they've got on the wheels. They'll have different depth of rim and different tyre combinations, and a lot of the time it's just pick a wheel up and put it in the bike. Yeah, and it was all deep section wheels a while ago, but now the slightly lower section rims are becoming more popular, and they're slightly lighter, and they still track as well in the sand and the deep mud.
I just need...
So we're behind the podium here as Melanie gets everyone ready to appear on the podium for today's first presentation in these World Championships. Well, the course looks really well set out. It's going to produce some thrilling racing over the next 24 hours. They're just making sure that these riders get briefed properly on how to receive their medals. It's a very important moment.
It is, yeah. Melanie there trying to give them their instructions.
Here we go then. We move to the presentation of the Junior World Cyclo-cross Championship. Nice red carpet. I don't know how that's going to stay clean all weekend, but it looks fantastic, and the Belgians are going nuts.
Sorry, we don't do the UCI and wait.
I think this is normally the part of the podium you don't see, isn't it?
It is. But we're seeing it all today.
The confusion and the... Yeah, winging it, I think it's called. It all looks so pro and smooth from the front, doesn't it?
It does. Normally you go behind the podium and it's absolute mayhem. Now you're getting the chance. It's not quite as much mayhem as it could be, to be honest.
We go, no answer, we go.
When you go behind the podium of big, races like Giro d'Italia and other races, it's absolutely incredible. There's jerseys being printed, there's interviews going on, there's people trying to get in that shouldn't get in, and it's incredible. Well, thank you to everyone who sent us messages on Twitter. We've got a few of those already today, and we'll be bringing you the women's race later on. Here we go then. This is the presentation of the World Junior Championships. Clean sweep of medals for the Belgian squad.
In third place and winner of the bronze medal, Jelle Shermans of Belgium.
So Jelle Shermans is the bronze medalist in this year's World Junior Cyclo-cross Championships.
De medaille wordt uitgereikt door meneer Azam, dat is de vicepresident van bestuur van de UCI.
The medal is presented by Dr. Azam of Egypt, vice president of the UCI Management Committee. On to second place, winner of the silver medal, Yannick Peters of Belgium.
Yannick Peters is the bronze silver medalist in these World Championships.
In first place, winner of the gold medal and your new world champion, Thijs Aerts of Belgium.
Op de eerste plaats winnaar van de gouden medaille
is the world champion.
De nieuwe drager van de regenboogtrui, de man uit Rijkenvorsel, Thijs Aerts, België.
So he's going to pull on the coveted rainbow bands now as the world champion. And the gold medal presented to him.
De bloemen worden aangereikt door Mieke, door Lori en door Jelke. En de bloemen worden uitgereikt door de burgemeester van de gemeente Woensdrecht, Steven Adriaanse. Ook heel populair hier.
Our riders will also receive a gift from Alderman of Sport, Vic Huygens.
We gaan ook nog eens geschenken laten overhandigen, dames en heren, door Vic Huygens. Een man die sport zeer hoog in zijn portefeuille heeft. Hij is de wethouder van de gemeente Woensdrecht. Felicitaties ook. En zo dadelijk na het volkslied gaan wij natuurlijk de naam van de winnaars.
So the rider's just been awarded with the usual gifts of the local area, and then we'll move on to the national anthem of Belgium.
Have your attention, please, for the national anthem of Belgium.
Uw aandacht voor het nationale volkslied van België, dames en heren. De pet eraf voor de Brabançon. derde plaats Jelle Schuurmans Poederlee.
T-Sets gives Belgium
Op de tweede plaats
the gold medal in the Junior World Championships to set them up for the weekend of racing here. There's your podium. Peters takes the silver medal and Shermans takes the bronze. Simon, an exciting race. Sets things up for the weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah, if we're going to have 3 more races like that, I think everyone's going to go home happy. That was a cracking race. Yeah, really good.
It certainly was. Well, we're going to leave you with some sights and sounds here in Hoogerheide. From Simon Burney and myself, Anthony McCrossan, thanks very much for watching as T-Sets enjoys the glory of a World Championship win. Bye for now.
Hier zijn Thijs met zijn vrienden. En je mag de medaille in je mond stoppen. Je mag erop bijten. Dames en heren, u was een fantastisch publiek bij de eerste huldiging. Maak ik nog even een ovatie voor de mannen op de eerste, tweede en derde plaats. Tijdens het vieren bij ons, dames en heren, Jan Peters, teleurgesteld. Contente man, het is er niet gevallen, hè? Oké, Thijs heeft van harte proficiat, een super mooie overwinning vorige week in het moment en vandaag alles mooi in de verf gezet. Dus echt waar, joh.